to have been a lot of confusion around task analysis. And when one person is confused, maybe that's the student's fault. But when a lot of people are confused, then that shows that, for whatever reason, my presentation was not sufficiently clear. So before we do anything else, I need to make sure that we're all together on this, because as I wrote, task analysis is really at the heart of instructional design. So first, let's think about the purpose. What do I want my students to be able to do? And we want to be careful that we're not talking about what we want them to do in class. What do we want them to do as an assessment activity? What do we want them to do to show they know what they can do? It's what I want my students to be able to do out in the world. What is it that's important that I'm teaching for? For example, you want your students to be able to recite the alphabet in order. But why? Reciting the alphabet in order isn't important in itself. Being able to sing the ABC song or the Aleph Bet Vet song, those are classroom activities. Those are things that you do on the way to learn. But being able to look up a word in a dictionary or to find a name in a phone book or on a contact list, those are life activities. That's what I want my student to do. Reciting the Shema, that's a classroom activity. Praying the Shema, that's a life activity. So we start with a goal like, I want my students to be able to participate meaningfully in the Torah service. Or I want my students to be able to understand how current events affect Jewish communities throughout the world, or something like that. So let's say I want my students to be able to participate meaningfully in the Torah service. Now I have to figure out, what does that involve? What do you need to be able to do in order to participate meaningfully in the Torah service? And it's at this point that the task analysis comes into play. What are the different tasks, the different skills and bits of knowledge that are necessary in order to do this thing, participating meaningfully? So here are some possibilities of an off-the-cuff task analysis. In no particular order, read the blessings, understand the role of the Torah reading in the service as a whole, know what the words of the blessings mean, knowing when to stand up, where to move to, the whole choreography, being able to follow along in the scroll with the Baal Koreh, having a sense of what the Torah means to one personally, knowing why people are called up, what's the whole purpose of this Aliyah business, chanting the blessings, know the function of the various people standing at the bima, etc., etc., etc. Once I've done this, once I've done the task analysis, I know specifically what it is I have to teach. And I can start thinking about organizing those various bits of teaching. In doing that, I'll think about when the various skills are called on chronologically, but I'll also think about complexity, about the different kinds of intelligence being called on, and the different levels of thinking as well, and how the tasks interact. I'll think also about what constitutes mastery of skill, say with knowing the function of the various people on the bima. Is it enough for a student to be able to write out a list of who's on the bima when I ask? Do I want the student to be able, when sitting in the synagogue at the Torah service, to be able to point to the different people and know what each one does? Do I want my students to have an even more active knowledge, to be able to script out and direct a Torah service and know how many people they need and where the people have to stand and what they want to do? Once I've done all that, once I've identified the tasks and understood what mastery means for each, and organize them in the best order, in the order that makes most sense for them to be learned, then I can begin to set the specific educational goals and design the experiences that will lead to them. I hope that makes things at least a bit more clear. Thanks.